The Legend of Yurei-Daki. Near the village of Kurosaka, in the province of Hoki, there is a waterfall called Yurei-Daki, or the Cascade of Ghosts. Why it is so called, I do not know. Near the foot of the fall, there is a small Shinto shrine of the god of the locality, whom the people name Taki-dai-myojin. And in front of the shrine is a little wooden money box, saisenbako, to receive the offerings of believers. And there is a story about the money box. One icy winter's evening, 35 years ago, the women and girls employed at a certain asatoriba, or hemp factory, in Kurosaka, gathered around the big brazier in the spinning room after their day's work had been done. Then they amused themselves by telling ghost stories. By the time that a dozen stories had been told, most of the gathering felt uncomfortable, and the girl cried out, just to heighten the pleasure of fear. Only think of going this night, all by oneself, to the Yurei-Daki. The suggestion provoked a general scream, followed by nervous bursts of laughter. I'll give all the hemp I spun today, mockingly said one of the party. To the person who goes. So will I, exclaimed another. And I, said a third. All of us, affirmed a fourth. Then, from among the spinners stood up one, Yasumoto Okatsu, the wife of a carpenter. She had her only son, a boy of 2 years old, snugly wrapped up and asleep upon her back. Listen, said Okatsu. If you will all really agree to make over to me all the hemp spun today, I will go to the Yurei-Daki. Her proposal was received with cries of astonishment and of defiance. But after having been several times repeated, it was seriously taken. Each of the spinners in turn agreed to give up her share of the day's work to Okatsu, providing that Okatsu should go to the Yurei-Daki. But how are we to know if she really goes there? A sharp voice asked. Why let her bring back the money box of the god? Answered an old woman, whom the spinners called Obasan, the grandmother. That will be proof enough. I'll bring it, cried Okatsu. And out she darted into the street, with her sleeping boy upon her back. The night was frosty but clear. Down the empty street, Okatsu hurried, and she saw that all the house fronts were tightly closed because of the piercing cold. Out of the village and along the high road she ran, with the great silence of frozen rice fields on either hand, and only the stars to light her. Half an hour she followed the open road. Then she turned down a narrow way winding under cliffs. Darker and rougher, the path became as she proceeded. But she knew it well, and she soon heard the dull roar of the water. A few minutes more, and the way widened into a glen. And the dull roar suddenly became a loud clamor, and before her she saw, looming against a mass of blackness, the long glimmering of the fall. Dimly she perceived the shrine, the money box. She rushed forward, put out her hand. "Oi! Okatsu-san!" Suddenly called the warning voice about the crush of the water. Okatsu stood motionless, stupefied by terror. "Oi! Okatsu-san!" Again pealed the voice, this time with more of menace in its tone. But Okatsu was really a bold woman, at once recovering from her stupefaction. She snatched up the money box and ran. She neither heard nor saw anything more to alarm her until she reached the high road, where she stopped a moment to take breath. Then she ran on steadily, till she got to Kurosaka, and thumped at the door of the Asatoriba. How the women and the girls cried out as she entered, panting, with the money box of the god in her hand. Breathlessly, they heard her story. Sympathetically, they screeched when she told them of the voice that had called her name twice, out of the haunted water. What a woman! Brave Okatsu! Well had she earned the hemp. "But your boy must be cold, Okatsu," cried the Obasan. "Let us have him here by the fire." "He ought to hungry," exclaimed the mother. "I must give him his milk presently." "Poor Okatsu," said the Obasan, helping to remove the wraps in which the boy had been carried. "Why, you're all wet behind." Then, with a husky scream, the helper vociferated, "Ah! It is blood!" And out of the wrappings unfastened, there fell to the floor a blood-soaked bundle of baby clothes that left exposed 2 very small brown feet and 2 very small brown hands. Nothing more. The child's head had been torn off,